أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة ولهم عذاب عظيم. ومن الناس من يقول آمنا بالله وباليوم الآخر وما هم بمؤمنين يخادعون الله والذين آمنوا وما يخدعون إلا أنفسهم وما يشعرون. في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرضا ولهم عذاب أليم بما كانوا يكذبون. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। मीर बबर अली अनीस का कदीमी लखनऊ का एक मरसिया पेश करने की इजाज़त चाहूँगा। एक बाबाज बुलंद सलवात अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। सफ़र इमाम हुसैन अलैहिस्सलाम। कनआन मोहम्मद के हसीनों का सफ़र है, खुर्शीद लका ज़ोहर जबीनों का सफ़र है। छुटता है वतन गोशा नशीनों का सफ़र है, एक दिन का नहीं कुछ महीनों का सफ़र है। गुल रो चमने दहर से जाने को चले हैं, घर छोड़ के जंगल के बसाने को चले हैं। गर्दिश है अबर फातिमा ज़हरा का कमर है, एक कदम राह में लुट जाने का डर है। बस्ती है न रस्ते में किसी जाह न शजर है। दरपेश है सख्ती के पहाड़ों का सफ़र है, गर्मी में गिरफ्तार महन होते हैं शब्बीर। गर्मी में गिरफ्तार महन होते हैं शब्बीर, बच्चे लिए आवारा वतन होते हैं शब्बीर। बच्चे लिए आवारा वतन होते हैं शब्बीर। शब से हैं तरद्दुद में सफ़र के शहे अबरार, گھوڑے بھی کسے جاتے ہیں، محمل بھی ہے تیار، اسباب سفر باندھتے ہیں یاور و انصار، عباس نکلواتے ہیں صندوق سے ہتھیار، عباس نکلواتے ہیں صندوق سے ہتھیار، ہر فرد پہ الطاف و کرم کرتے ہیں شبیر، ہر فرد پہ الطاف و کرم کرتے ہیں شبیر، ہمراہیوں کے نام رقم کرتے ہیں شبیر، سب کہتے ہیں زینب سے کہ اے شاہ کی شیدا، سب کہتے ہیں زینب سے کہ اے شاہ کی شیدا، کس طرح کے خطائے یکا یک یہ ہوا کیا، پانی کی کمی، گرمی کے دن، خوف کا رستہ، وہ دھوپ، پہاڑوں کی وہ لو اور وہ صحرا، کیا سوچ کے اس فصل میں شبیر چلے ہیں، کیا سوچ کے اس فصل میں شبیر چلے ہیں، بچوں پہ کرو رحم کہ نازوں کے پلے ہیں، فرماتی تھیں زینب نہیں ہم کو کوئی چارہ، قسمت میں تباہی ہے تو کیا زور ہمارا، قسمت میں تباہی ہے تو کیا زور ہمارا، گھر چھوڑ کے جانا ہے کسی کو بھی گوارا، مجبور ہے مضطر ہے ید اللہ کا پیارا، مجبور ہے مضطر ہے ید اللہ کا پیارا، ایام مصیبت کے ہیں تنہائی کے دن ہے، غربت کی شبیں بادیہ پیمائی کے دن ہیں، باتیں یہ بھی تھیں کہ شہ بحر و بر آئے، باتیں یہ بھی تھیں کہ شہ بحر و بر آئے، دیکھا رخ شمشیر کو اور اشک بہائے، ماں بیٹھی تھی صغرا کو جو چھاتی سے لگائے، ماں بیٹھی تھی صغرا کو جو چھاتی سے لگائے، روتے ہوئے تشریف شہیدیں وہیں لائے، بیٹی شہزی جہاں کی تعظیم کو اٹھی، بستر سے عصا تھام کے تسلیم کو اٹھی، جلد اس کے قریب آ کے یہ کہنے لگے حضرت بیٹھو ابھی اٹھنے کی تم میں نہیں طاقت، بیٹھو ابھی تم میں اٹھنے کی نہیں طاقت، ایک ذوف کی تصویر ہو ایسی ہے نقاہت، کیوں رات کو کیسی رہی بی بی کی طبیعت، تپ میں جو کراہی تھیں تو گھبرائے تھے صغرا، تپ میں جو کراہی تھیں تو گھبرائے تھے صغرا، بے ہوش تھی تم شب میں بھی ہم آئے تھے صغرا، دم چڑھتا ہے بستر سے اٹھاتی ہو اگر سر، بی بی کہو محمل میں چڑھا جائے گا کیوں کر، گھر میں تمہیں پانی کی بھڑک رہتی، گھر میں تمہیں پانی کی بھڑک رہتی ہے دن بھر، پھر کیا ہو کسی دن جو نہ پانی ہو میسر، تم جانے کے قابل نہیں میں رہ نہیں سکتا، تم جانے کے قابل نہیں میں رہ نہیں سکتا، شب سے ہے وہ تشویش کہ کچھ کہہ نہیں سکتا، صغرا نے کہا آپ کی الفت کے میں قربان، پھر کس کو ہو اگر آپ کو لونڈی کا نہ ہو دھیان، صدقے گئی صحت کا بھی ہو جائے گا سامان، مولا کی توجہ ہے ہر ایک درد کا درمان، جس پہ نظر لطف مسیح دو سرا ہو، جس پہ نظر لطف مسیح دو سرا ہو، برسوں کا ہو بیمار تو ایک دم میں شفا ہو، کیوں روتے ہو بابا کیوں روتے ہو بابا، یہ تردد کی نہیں جا، سب سہل ہے کچھ مجھ کو نہیں ہونے کی ایزا، پہلے سے کہے دیتی ہوں اے سید والا، میں خانہ ویراں میں نہیں رہنے کی تنہا، اب روح میرے جسم میں گھبراتی ہے بابا، اب روح میرے جسم میں گھبراتی ہے بابا، ان باتوں سے کچھ بوئے فراق آتی ہے بابا، شہ نے کہا تم حال سے میرے نہیں آگاہ، مجبور نکلتا ہوں میں اس شہر سے واللہ، مجبور نکلتا ہوں میں اس شہر سے واللہ، آفت کا ہے بی بی یہ سفر، خوف کی ہے راہ، بیمار ہو کس طرح سے لے جاؤں تمہیں آزار رسیدہ ہوں گرفتار بلا ہوں، آزار رسیدہ ہوں گرفتار بلا ہوں، گھر چھوڑ کے جلادوں کی سرحد میں چلا ہوں، آزار رسیدہ ہوں گرفتار بلا ہوں، گھر چھوڑ کے جلادوں کی سرحد میں چلا ہوں۔ ثابت ہوا صغرا پہ کہ اب ہم رہے گھر میں، بس پھر گئی تنہائی کی تصویر نظر میں، ایک جوش ہوا آنسوؤں کا دیدہ تر میں، صدمے سے کھٹک درد کی پیدا ہوئی سر میں، شکل اپنی شب ہجر جو دکھلا گئی اس کو، کانپا یہ تن زار کے تپ آ گئی اس کو، تھراتی ہوئی اٹھ کے گری شہ کے قدم پر، کی عرض کے مر جاؤں گی یا سبت پیمبر، تنہائی میں بابا میرا دل بہلے گا کیوں کر، تنہائی میں بابا میرا دل بہلے گا کیوں کر، سب بیٹیاں ہیں آپ کی کیا میں نہیں ہوں دختر، سب بیٹیاں ہیں کیا میں نہیں ہوں آپ کی دختر، بے آپ کے اس گھر میں نہ رہ پاؤں گی یا شاہ، اچھا میں کنیزوں کی سنگ راہ رہوں گی، اچھا میں کنیزوں ہی کے ہمراہ رہوں گی، پیاری ہے جو دو بیٹیاں وہ جائیں گی ہمراہ، پیاری ہیں جو دو بیٹیاں وہ جائیں گی ہمراہ، کیا انس کے میں گور کنارے بھی تو ہوں کیا انس کے میں گور کنارے بھی تو ہوں بابا کو نہ اماں کو نہ بہنوں کو میری چاہ، بابا کو نہ اماں کو نہ بہنوں کو میری چاہ، سب جیتے رہیں خیر ہمارا بھی ہے اللہ، سب جیتے رہیں خیر ہمارا بھی ہے اللہ، بھولے سے نہ خاطر ناشاد کروں گی، میں قبر میں ہوں گی تو سب یاد کریں گے، میں قبر میں ہوں گی تو سب یاد کریں گے، رونے کا ادھر غل تھا کہ فضا یہ پکاری، تیار ہے ناموس محمد کی سواری، دروازے کے نزدیک ہے زینب کی عماری، کیا دیر ہے اب آئے ید اللہ کی پیاری، ہر بار قناتوں کے قریب آتے ہیں عباس، اب جلد سواری ہو یہ فرماتے ہیں عباس، اب جلد سواری ہو یہ فرماتے ہیں عباس، شبیر نے رو کے کہا لو جاتے ہیں صغرا، شبیر نے رو کے کہا لو اب جاتے ہیں صغرا، جلد آتے ہیں یا خود تمہیں بلواتے ہیں صغرا، ہم سب تیری تنہائی کا غم کھاتے ہیں صغرا، جان اپنی نہ کھونا تمہیں سمجھاتے ہیں صغرا، قربان پدر آب و غذا ترک نہ کیجو، بڑھ جائے گا آزار دوا ترک نہ کیجو، صغرا کو نقاہت سے نہ تھی طاقت گفتار، اٹھی کئی بار اور گری در پہ کئی بار، جس ناقے پہ تھی بانوئے ناشاد و دل افگار، اس ناقے کے پاس آ کے یہ چلائی وہ بیمار، اس ناقے کے پاس آ کے چلائی وہ بیمار، قربان گئی آخری دیدار کرا دو، قربان گئی آخری دیدار کرا دو، اماں مجھے اصغر کو پھر ایک بار دکھا دو، اماں مجھے اصغر کو پھر ایک بار دکھا دو، مستر ہوئی سن کر یہ سخن بانوئے بے پر، پردے سے جگر بند کے منہ کر دیا باہر، بیٹی سے کہا دست پہ سر ماتھے پہ رکھ کر، لو آخری تسلیم بجا لاتے ہیں اصغر، لو آخری تسلیم بجا لاتے ہیں اصغر، منہ زرد ہے رخساروں پہ آنسو بھی بہے ہیں، منہ زرد ہے رخساروں پہ آنسو بھی بہے ہیں، یہ نرگسی آنکھوں سے تمہیں دیکھ رہے ہیں، یہ نرگسی آنکھوں سے تمہیں دیکھ رہے ہیں، صلوات۔
Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Before we invite our guest speaker from California, Sister Tabinda, I'm sorry, got some announcements to do. Before that, I just want to remind you, inshallah, the program would start every day at 7 p.m. sharp. Okay, we are not going to wait for anyone, okay? Please respect the time. Inshallah, we have reciters who come at 7 o'clock or before 7 o'clock. So if you can make on time by 7 o'clock, that will be encouraging the reciters because, we had a brother Zain. Can we have loud salawat for him? Sallallahu Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Huma salli ala Muhammad wa ali. And mashallah, he did a very good recitation of Quran. Unfortunately, some of the people, we missed him. So please, to encourage our youth, to encourage the reciters, I request everybody to be on time, okay? With that, Sister Tabinda.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Go to the next one.
Another salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Before we invite our speaker to the minbar, there are a couple of announcements I wanted to make. The first one was the fact that this year we'll be selling t-shirts, and if you are interested in selling the t-shirts, please come to me. We have these t-shirts that are available that are on the screen. There's a Ya Hussein design, Ya Sakina, and on the back our center logo. They're available for both kids and adults. At this time, we are still in need for Tabarruk Niyaz food sponsors for the date listed on the screen. Again, if you're interested, please come to me or Sister Shabab Mazhar. You can do a partial sponsor, you can do a full sponsor of the food, or you can provide us with a donation and we can order the food on your behalf. Brothers and sisters, as you know, this year we've invited many guest scholars for your benefit and for the benefit of your children. These programs would not be possible without your generous donations. We have several ways that you can donate to our center. Firstly, here on the screen, you can see that we have a kiosk available right here in the main hall where you enter. You could just swipe your credit card and donate. You can donate traditionally with cash or check and give your donation to Brother Abbas on the brother's side or to me on the sister's side. In addition, you can Zelle the payment to us. Here on the screen, we have the email address you can Zelle your donation to. Everyone here shops at Amazon, so when you shop, please make sure you're shopping at smile.amazon.com. And if you click on the top left here on the screen, it shows Ahlul Bayt Society is one of the charitable societies you can donate to, so a proceeds of your purchase will come directly to the center. Please note, after the 10-day programs have concluded, we will continue to have programs every Saturday here at ABSC, same time at 7 p.m. Please look for those announcements in the ABS WhatsApp Columbus announcement group. If you are not a part of that, you can email the address shown. You can come to, again, me on the sister side or Brother Abbas on the brother side. Again, to limit the noise during the lecture during the main hall, please avoid using the main door. Please avoid opening and closing the main door. It's better if you use the side doors. If you can silence your phones and keep your children seated as best as we could. And now I'd like to introduce our Sayyid, who recently graduated from the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, with a degree in political science as well as Middle Eastern studies. He's very lucky. He was raised in the holy city of Karbala. He studied in the Islamic seminary under Ayatollah Sayyid Murtaza al-Qazwini as well as Sayyid Hussein al-Qazwini. In addition to speaking for the Ahlul Bayt, he is a part of multiple local and national organizations aimed at empowering Muslims, especially Shia youth in America. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our Sayyid to Columbus, and please welcome him to the member all together with a loud Salu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
All come forward, especially the kids. I don't think you guys need a chair, okay? That's for the older people. So why don't you guys come down, okay? Everybody, all the kids on the chairs, can you please come down? Thank you very much, shukran. One quick reminder, everything that Sister Tabitha made an announcement about the Zelle, it's already running on the TV. You don't need to worry about like all this information. If you step out, it's on the TV, those announcements are happening. Sallallahu Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. You guys hear me? اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بالحسين عليه السلام. I extend my sincerest condolences for the musab of Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi السلام, Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to benefit from these 10 holy nights, and may we keep staying on the path of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Sallallahu alayka ya Rasul Allah. Sallallahu alayka ya Mawlaya ya Aba Abdullah. يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة، يا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة، يا ليتنا كنا معكم سيدي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. قال الله الحكيم في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإن يكاد الذين كفروا ليزلقونك بأبصارهم لما سمعوا الذكر ويقولون إنه لمجنون وما هو إلا ذكر للعالمين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. For the love of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. For the ability to attend the majalis of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein during these 10 nights, صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. And to hasten the reappearance of the Imam, Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, صلوا على Muhammad with the loudest of your voices. اللهم صل على. One of the oldest and most common beliefs in this world is the belief in the evil eye, what we call in Arabic al-ain, or in Urdu nazar. It is one of the oldest beliefs in this world. In fact, we can trace the belief in the evil eye back to the year 6000 BC with the Chaldean tradition. It was also prevalent amongst the Persians and the Egyptians as they created evil eye beads for protection. This belief also exists within religious communities, specifically the Jewish, the Christian, and the Islamic diverse communities. In fact, there are many Jewish texts that emphasize the existence of the evil eye, the existence of al-ain within their texts. For example, in a Jewish text, it is mentioned that the first wife of Nabiullah Ibrahim alayhi salam, Sarah, gave the evil eye to his second wife, Hajar, when she became pregnant. And therefore it led to a miscarriage. And this is all before being pregnant with Nabiullah Ismail. Another text states that the sons of Nabiullah Yusuf are immune to the effects of the evil eye. So this is in Judaism. And there are similar beliefs in Christianity. And we can also see similar beliefs within our Muslim communities. We see the belief in the evil eye. According to the Pew Research Center in the Middle East and North Africa, which what we call the Muslim world, that is where the highest percentage of believing in the evil eye exists. In fact, 91% of Tunisians believe in the evil eye. 63% of Pakistanis believe in the evil eye. 71% of Iraqis believe in the evil eye. 83% of Tanzanians believe in the evil eye. So but the belief in the evil eye is very prevalent amongst our communities. We see that sometimes when people give us compliments, the first tendency that we have is to tell the other person to say, MashaAllah, to protect ourselves from the evil eye. However, the question is the belief in the evil eye based in Islamic sources? Are there any ahadith that mention the evil eye from the Ahlul Bayt, from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi? Are there any Quranic verses that allude to the existence of the evil eye and its impact? Or is it all just superstition? Is it all just cultural beliefs that somehow found their way in the religion of Islam and within the Islamic communities? So inshallah, in this lecture, we will be covering the following points. Is there a difference between hasad and the evil eye, or are they different? And if they are different, then what is the evil eye specifically? What are arguments to support the existence of the evil eye? What are arguments that exist to refute the evil eye? And if we conclude in today's lecture that the evil eye exists, what are some ways to protect ourselves from it? صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Brothers and sisters, this is the first night of majalis, so we need a louder salawat. Hasad is essentially envy in English. It is the characteristic of wanting the elimination of someone's blessing. For example, you buy a house, a beautiful house with a beautiful backyard in a good neighborhood, and then you go and you tell your coworker. Sometimes they don't wish you the best. So the first instinct within your coworker is to think that he wishes or she wishes that you did not possess that house. That is what we call hasad. And there are two types of hasad. The first is wishing that the other person doesn't have the blessing and that you own the blessing instead. So that your coworker will wish that he or she owns the house instead of you. That is the first type of hasad. And the second type is that they don't care whether they possess the item or not. They don't care whether they possess the house or not. As long as you don't have it, they're happy. That's a type of hasad. It exists. That person might own a better house. They might not need your house. They have a house in a better community, in a better neighborhood, with a bigger backyard, more rooms. However, they just can't handle the fact that you own a house. And these obviously are two awful traits to have. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam says, Al-hasad ra'sul rada'il. The worst of bad traits is hasad. And there is a third thing. That's not jealousy, that's not envy, because these two are bad traits. And that's what we call in Arabic, scholars call it ghibtah. يغبطه. What is that? It's wishing that you own something similar to your friend or the coworker or whoever it is. But you don't wish that that blessing that they have is eliminated. So for example, when you see your friend's house, you don't wish that your friend does not own the house anymore. However, you wish that you also own a house. And that's a good quality to have. It's not a bad quality within Islam. So which one of these three is hasad? Is the evil eye? Is it the first type of hasad? Is it the second type of hasad in which you don't care to own that thing? Or is it the third, ghibtah? The answer is none of these, brothers and sisters. There's a common misconception within our communities that hasad and the evil eye are the same. However, they're not the same. There's a huge difference between the two. What is the difference? The evil eye is basically a negative impact or negative effect that happens to something after someone's astonishment. It has nothing to do with hasad sometimes. It has to do with astonishment, al-ajab. So for example, when someone sees something and they say, wow, or they have the feeling of wow, and a negative impact happens on that thing, that's the evil eye. So for example, if someone's jealous from you and they say wow to your thing, they're actually impressed, then the evil eye can happen. But sometimes no, they just hate the other person. They can't stand the other person. It's not a matter of wow, they probably have a better house, but they're just jealous. So in that case, jealousy, hasad, and the evil eye are not the same. So essentially, the evil eye are two things. Number one, the feeling of wow, the feeling of astonishment. You're astonished by that thing. You see wow, or mashallah. If you say mashallah, there's no hasad, there's no evil eye, but the feeling of wow. And number two is the negative impact. So the sense of astonishment is what leads to the negative impact. That is the evil eye. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So what are the arguments that are aimed to support the existence of the evil eye? There are a number of verses in the Holy Quran that allude to the existence of the evil eye. And there are a number of ahadith from the tradition of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam that explain, that explicitly address the evil eye. Let us look at some of them. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi says in a hadith, he says in a hadith, إن العين لتدخل الرجل القبر والجمل القدر. The evil eye will take a man to his grave and a camel to a pot. What does that mean? It means that the impact of the evil eye can be so great to the point that it can kill a man. A young man, a young woman in their 30s, in their 40s, at a young age, all of a sudden they die. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa says, sometimes that happens because of the evil eye. What else? And it can also lead a camel into a pot, meaning that you see a camel, you say, wow, that camel ends up being cooked in the pot. That's an example of the evil eye. And that's why there's a famous proverb in Iraq that says, ثلثيان المقابر لأهل العيون. 2/3 of the cemetery is because of the evil eye. Another example is the story of Asma bint Umays with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. What happened? Asma bint Umays was the wife of Ja'far al-Tayyar, and we all know Ja'far al-Tayyar, the brother of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. So she goes to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi and she tells him, Ya Rasulullah, إن بني جعفر تصيبهم العين أفأسترقي لهم أو رسول الله. The sons of Ja'far are being impacted by the evil eye. Do I make a special dua for them to protect them from the evil eye? So you see that she is already saying that the evil eye exists. She believes that the evil eye exists, and she's telling the Prophet, do I make a special dua? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi says, Na'am, yes. فَلَوْ كَانَ شَيْءٌ يَسْبَقُ الْقَدْرِ لَسَبَقَتْهُ الْعَيْنِ. If there was anything that supersedes qada and qadr, it is al-ayn. So the impact of al-ayn can be big. Number 3, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam says in Nahj al-Balagha, specifically in the version of Abi al-Hadid al-Mu'tazili, he says, al-aynu haqq wal-raqyu haqq. The evil eye is a reality, and the dua that you make to protect yourself is also a reality. Meaning that the evil eye is true, and there are ways to protect yourself from it. And the last hadith, Al-Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, Al-aynu haqq. The evil eye is true. وَلَسْتَ تَأْمَنُهَا عَلَى نَفْسِكَ وَلَا مِنْكَ عَلَى غَيْرِكَ. The evil eye is true, and you cannot put yourself immune to it, neither others. Neither you or others are immune to the evil eye. فإذا خفت ذلك فقل ثلاثا ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. And if you fear from its impact, say 3 times ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. So these narrations, we can see very clearly that they are explicitly saying that the evil eye exists and that its impacts can be very, very severe. That is the ahadith. What about the Quran? We see the Holy Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ya baniya la tadkhulu min babin wahid, wadkhulu min abwaba mutafarriqa. And he said, O my sons, enter not by one gate, but enter by separate gates. What does this mean? In the story of Nabiullah Yusuf, when his brothers were heading towards Egypt, Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salam had 11 brothers. So when they were heading towards Egypt, their father, Nabiullah Yaqub, told them what? He told them, my sons, when you're about to enter the doors of Egypt, don't enter all of you from one door. Why? I want you to enter from other separate doors. Now scholars, certain scholars have explained the meaning of this verse, saying that Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam feared that his sons would be afflicted by the evil eye. Now you ask why? Let me tell you. Nabiullah Yusuf, as we all know, was known for what? For his beauty. Now you know beauty runs in the family. It's not something that you have alone. If you're beautiful, chances are that your parents are also beautiful. Your siblings are also beautiful. That's how it is. Now while Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was known to be very, very beautiful, his brothers were also beautiful. But he was on another level of beauty. But they were also beautiful. So now imagine 11 beautiful men, handsome men, enter a city. Chances are at least one person, if not more, are going to say, wow. You see 11 men walking all of a sudden, and they're all very handsome, good looking. So he didn't want them to be impacted by the evil eye. So that is one mention of the evil eye from the Quran, according to certain scholars. Number two, and the final one from the Quran, we can see in the verse that I recited in the beginning, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَإِن يَكَادُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَيُزْلِقُونَكَ بِأَبْصَارِهِمْ لَمَّا سَمِعُوا الذِّكْرَ وَيَقُولُونَ إِنَّهُ لَمَجْنُونَ وَمَا هُوَ إِلَّا ذِكْرٌ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Indeed, those who disbelieve would smite you down with their glances when they hear the reminders. Surely, he is possessed. Yet, it is not but a reminder for the worlds. Let us focus on the part where it says, smite you down with their glances. Smite you down with their glances. Scholars have said that this part, which is يُزْلِقُونَكَ بِأَبْصَارِهِمْ in Arabic, refers to the evil eye. It means that the disbelievers were aiming to afflict the Prophet with the evil eye. And the Quran is telling the Prophet that they want to hurt you with their evil eye. That is what certain scholars say. So now I ask you, does the evil eye exist? You say yes. Well, let's hear the other side. And let's see what you say. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Some scholars say that the evil eye is not true at all. It's a myth. It's a cultural belief that somehow has found itself within Islamic communities. There's no such thing as the evil eye. And sometimes when you think that the evil eye exists and you see an impact, it's not the reason. There are other reasons. There's always many reasons to explain one thing. And that the evil eye doesn't really exist. Now you say, how? We just heard a lot of narrations and a few verses from the Holy Quran. What is the basis to these claims? The first argument that certain scholars make is that all of the narrations that I mentioned have a weak chain. ضعيفة الإسناد. The chain of narrators in these ahadith, in these narrations from the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, the chain of narrators is weak. Not all of these people are trustworthy. That is number one. And number two, that these ahadith are not mentioned in our primary sources. We have, in Shi'ism, we have 4 primary sources. What are they in ahadith? Al-Kafi, Man la yahdhuruhu al-Faqih, Al-Istibsar, and Al-Tahdhib by Shaykh al-Tusi. So these 4 books are our primary ahadith sources. These ahadith that I mentioned are all mentioned in secondary sources that come at a later time. So that is the argument that certain scholars make, is that all of these ahadith that you just mentioned, they're weak. They're not that reliable. So does this mean that the evil eye doesn't exist? Not necessarily. It might be the case that it exists. And these guys are not lying. It doesn't necessarily mean that if they're mentioned in secondary sources and the person is not that reliable, it doesn't necessarily mean, it doesn't necessarily equate to lying, to a fabricated hadith. However, it is good to keep it in mind that these ahadith aren't that reliable. So that is the first argument to be made against the evil eye. The second argument to be made is that the Quranic verses that I mentioned a bit ago have different explanations. You say how? I'll tell you. For example, the reason why Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam told his kids, his sons, to not enter all from one door is because he had fears because of a legitimate security concern. Back then, traveling was not that frequent. We all know that. They didn't have planes, they didn't have cars, so it was hard, especially from one country to another. So when you see someone that is not from your city, you become automatically suspicious. You want to know what's happening, right? Now here, if you're in Ohio and you see Michigan license plate, will you be that surprised? No, you're not going to be surprised. It's a Michigan license plate. They're a neighboring state. However, if you, back at the time, seeing someone from a different country is a little suspicious, especially if you don't know them. So now, 11 men walking together, entering a city together, some people will feel suspicious in the city. So Prophet Yaqub was protective of his children. He didn't want people to feel suspicious of his children. He didn't want the government to be suspicious. So that's why he wanted them to enter as discreetly as possible into the city. That is a tafsir. So they say this has nothing to do with the evil eye. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're beautiful. It was actually a legitimate security concern for Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam. That is the first ayah. The second ayah, the ayah وَإِن يَكَادُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَيُزْلِقُونَكَ بِأَبْصَارِهِمْ. It has nothing to do with ayn as well. What is meant by those who disbelieve would smite you down with their glances is an illustration of how much they hated the Prophet. We all know that the disbelievers hated the Prophet. So this verse is showing the Prophet how much they hated him. It's basically telling him they want to eat you alive. That's how much they hated him. And the Prophet persevered. So these are the arguments against the existence of the evil eye. So what is the answer? Is there an evil eye? Is there no evil eye? And this topic, a lot of people have very strong opinions. You know, some people can say, Wallah, I've been afflicted by it and my house burnt down and my car burnt down. And some people say, no, it's all psychological. I'll give you the answer. The answer is, as we see, it's a matter of debate. However, the right thing to do is to be precautious. It's good to be precautious. That's what scholars say. But at the same time, don't be overly precautious. Some people, all they think about is al-ayn, al-ayn, al-ayn. Nazar. Chill down. It's not that worth it, you know? Don't overthink, don't overstress. Scholars say, be precautious. There are ways to protect yourself from the evil eye if it exists. But at the same time, don't overstress. It's not worth it. And it's a good thing to be cautious. It's a good thing to read dua to protect yourself. The least, you have nothing to lose and you have everything to gain. What's the worst that can happen? You make a dua, you get thawab from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's the end of the story. Right? But it's not good to overthink, and it's not good to keep on thinking that I'm being afflicted by the evil eye. Because not everything bad that happens stems from the evil eye. Let's say your car gets towed, you know, or you total your car, or something happens to your house, or you fail an exam, you just had a bad day in school. All of these things happen, right? But does that mean that's the evil eye? Not necessarily. There are other things that can cause that. Especially the believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in the Holy Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Does mankind suppose that they will be left to say, we believe, and they will not be tried? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises us in the Holy Quran that we will be tried in this world. This life is filled with trials and tribulations. So not everything bad that happens is due to the evil eye. It doesn't necessarily have to be the case. Another impact, another reason why these things happen maybe because of our sins. Yes, our sins have impacts on us in this life before the year after. And inshallah, we'll have a lecture in a couple nights discussing the impacts of sins on our lives. So that can be a reason. Number 3, it can simply be the consequences of our actions. If you do something, anything that you do has consequences. Sometimes it's neutral consequences, sometimes it's bad consequences, and sometimes it's good. If you're like me and you forget to turn off the lights in your car, your battery will die. Simple. It has nothing to do with the evil eye. Right? If you don't study for your exam, chances are you're going to fail. That's how it is. It has nothing to do with the evil eye. But sometimes it's good to be precautious and to say that maybe the evil eye exists. Because we do have a hadith that say that evil eye exists. We don't have any hadith that say that evil eye doesn't exist. We only have a hadith that say the evil eye does exist. However, they're not that reliable. So it's good to be cautious. So now you ask, what are some ways to protect myself from the evil eye? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Some people will tell you that you should use the amulet. We've all seen the symbol of the evil eye, the blue one. They tell you put it on your wall, own a bracelet, a necklace, put it on yourself, and you'll be fine. Some people will tell you that in certain cultures. Some people will tell you to write certain phrases on the wall, on your car, on things that you don't want to be afflicted by the evil eye. For example, in Arab countries, we see that there are certain signs on cars, on houses. عين الحاسد تبلى بعمى. The eyes of a person who has hasad will be afflicted with being blind. Or another, عين الحسود بها عود. The eye of the envious person will have a stick in his eye. That's what they say. Others will do unimaginable things, things that will blow your mind, like truly will blow your mind. I'll tell you a story. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There was a lady in Iraq in the 1900s, in the early 1900s. Every time that she would get pregnant and bring a child into this world and raise that child, after a few years, that child will die. Multiple times. It happened to her, to 3 or 4 sons. And she genuinely believed that the reason why this is happening is because other people, maybe her neighbors, are giving her the evil eye. That's what she believes. So she decided to do something that will make this kid never be afflicted with the evil eye for the rest of his life. What did she do? She gave him a very surprising name. Imagine having a beautiful child, being in the hospital, giving birth to a beautiful child, and naming this child Zbale. Some of the Iraqi people are laughing here. You know what the meaning of Zbale is? Trash. Imagine naming your son Trash. Everyone's laughing, Now, who would give this child the evil eye? If you see this child, chances are you're going to do 2 things. You're going to pity that child, or you're going to bully that child for his name. So this child was named Trash. Subhanallah, this child became a man, and currently one of the most famous juice shops in Baghdad is called Murattabat al-Haj Zbale. Mr. Trash or Mr. Zbale's juice place. In fact, very interesting, over 5 presidents have visited his juice shop because it's a very good juice shop. Actually, not because of the name, it has nothing to do with the name. He has very good juice in Baghdad, and 5 presidents have visited him. In addition to the Iraqi presidents that have visited him, Hosni Mubarak, the former Egyptian president, the former king of Algeria, and the former king of Jordan have all visited this place. So some people will tell you to do unimaginable things. Now the moral of this lecture is not to name your kid Zbala. I hope no one does that here. In fact, it is the duty of the parents to name their child with a beautiful name. وَأَن يُحْسِنَ إِسْمَهُ. That's what the Imam says. It is your duty. One of the rights that your child has upon a parent is to give them a beautiful name. So what are some Islamic ways? What are some things that the Imams, that the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam tell us to protect ourselves from the evil eye? Al-Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Al-Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, إذا خفت أن تصاب بالعين أو تصيب بها أحدا فقل ثلاثا ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. If you fear the evil eye, if you think that you're being afflicted by the evil eye, say ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم 3 times. It's very simple. Memorize it. ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم 3 times. And you can all say it right now. Another solution is reading and reciting Ayatul Kursi. Ayatul Kursi is known for protection. I was looking through the narrations of the Ahlul Bayt on the status, on the implications of Ayatul Kursi. Brothers and sisters, it's unimaginable. Unimaginable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this verse as a blessing. And we should hold on to this verse. Every day, do your best to recite this verse at least once. And if you can, 4 times. There's a narration that says, if you recite Ayatul Kursi once, one angel, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will order one angel to protect you from one side, let's say your front. If you recite it twice, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send an angel to protect you from another side. If you recite it 3 times, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send a 3rd angel to protect you from a 3rd side. But if you recite it 4 times, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell the angels to leave you alone, and that He will protect you Himself from any danger. So that is another way of protecting yourself from the evil eye and from any evil. Brothers and sisters, the evil eye, not just the evil eye. There's other types of evil. So it's good to always stay on reciting Surah Ayatul Kursi. Another way of protecting yourself is reciting or giving sadaqah. And we all know the benefits of sadaqah. It's a good habit to have. Even if you have 25 cents in your pocket, it's better than not giving anything. So it's always good to give what? To give sadaqah, even if it's 25 cents. Never. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam says, لا تستحي من إعطاء القليل فإن الحرمان أقل منه. Never be shy of giving something minimal. Because not giving is worse than giving something minimal. And it's all about intention. If you only have $5 in your pocket and you give it all away, or you give $1, that's better than someone who is a millionaire that gives $1,000. That's the reality of the situation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards us based on what we give. Not by number, but by intention and by percentage of what we have. That's how it is. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi says, الصدقة تمنع 70 نوعا من أنواع البلاء. Sadaqah prevents 70 different types of evil. What are these types? We don't know. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi is telling us to give sadaqah. And the evil eye is a form of evil. It comes from the name. So might as well give some sadaqah. And lastly, and inshallah we'll go into the musibah. Lastly, reciting the verse that I recited in the beginning. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَإِن يَكَادُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَيُزْلِقُونَكَ بِأَبْصَارِهِمْ لَمَّا سَمِعُوا الذِّكْرَ وَيَقُولُونَ إِنَّهُ لَمَجْنُونَ وَمَا هُوَ إِلَّا ذِكْرٌ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Indeed, those who disbelieve would smite you down with their glances when they hear the reminder, saying, surely he is possessed, yet it is not but a reminder for the worlds. And we see a lot of people in their houses, they have this verse hung on the wall. Now, this verse is speaking to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. It is telling Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi that the disbelievers look at you in a way that they just want to eat you alive. They just want to destroy you, eliminate your existence. Now, while this verse was sent down to the Prophet and talking to the Prophet, this was also the situation in Karbala. The way that Yazid's army was looking at Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, they couldn't wait to massacre him. They couldn't wait to attack his tents. They couldn't wait to hold his women captive. They couldn't wait to make these little children orphans. On this eve, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam and his caravan arrived to the city of Karbala. When they arrived to the city of Karbala, the horse of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein refuses to go forward. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam tries to go forward, but this horse refuses. So Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam notices. He asks his companions, Ashabi, masmu hadhihi al-ard. My companions, what is the name of this land? One of them tells him, Sayyidi tusamma Nainawa. O Rasulullah, O the son of Rasulullah, it is named Nainawa. He asks, does it have a different name? They tell him, Al-Ghadiriya. The Imam is waiting for a specific response. He asks, does it have another name? They tell him it is named Al-Taf. He asks, does it have another name, until someone says the word Karbala. As soon as the Imam hears the word Karbala, he says, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-karbi wal-bala. Oh Allah, I seek refuge from trials and tribulations. And that is the meaning of the city of Karbala. Karbun wa bala. Trials and tribulations. And then he says, Ashabi, unzulu, فهنا محط رحالنا. هنا تسفك دماؤنا. ها هنا ترمل نساؤنا. ها هنا تحرق خيامنا. ها هنا تسبى نساؤنا. My companions, come down from your horses. This is the end of our journey. This is where we will be killed. This is where our women will be widowed. This is where our women will be held as captives. This is where our tents will burn. Subhanallah. The tents burned. After the battle of Karbala, they attacked the tents. They burned the tents. The kids began running, escaping the fire. They didn't know where to go. Where do you go? You're in a desert. It's already hot. You haven't drank water in 3 days, and they burned the tent, so they began running, not knowing where to go, and a lot of kids got lost, including two
Beautiful young kids at the age of 7 or 8, and that is the two boys of Muslim ibn Aqil. Muslim ibn Aqil had 2 boys and they were already orphaned. They came to Karbala with Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and they witnessed the massacre of their uncle Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. When the tents were being burnt, they escaped and they got lost. Now the captives went to Kufa and they headed to Sham and they still were lost. Until the army of Ibn Ziyad captures them. They find them and captures them. They take them to Kufa. As soon as they take them to Kufa, Ibn Ziyad looks at them and orders his prisoner to take them to prison. So they take the sons of Muslim to prison. They stay there for a while and they are treated horribly until they decide to speak to the prisoner. They tell him, هل تعرف محمد بن عبد الله? O prisoner, do you know Muhammad ibn Abdullah? He says, نعم هو نبي. He is my prophet. They tell him, do you know جعفر الطيار? He says, إنه الذي أنبت الله له جناحين يطير بهما مع الملائكة. He is the one that received 2 wings in heaven after dying in the battle of Mu'tah. They tell him, do you know Ali ibn Abi Talib? He tells them, إنه ابن عم رسول الله. They tell him, نحن من عترة رسول الله ومن أولاد مسلم ibn Aqil. We are from the household of the Prophet. We are the sons of Muslim ibn Aqil. How can you do this to us while knowing everything? So he immediately realizes what he does, and he tells them at night, I will release you from prison. خفف علينا القيد وارحمنا يا سجان. احنا من أهل بيت النبي وبينا الدهر خان. مسلم أبونا والأهل كلهم سلاطين. جدنا علي صاحب البيعة وخالنا حسين. وذيك العشيرة صاحبيها صايح البين. ظلوا على حر الثرى وضاعت النسوان. So he opens the door for them at night and they leave. They began to wander in the city of Kufa at night. Imagine 2 young boys at the age of 7 being lost in the city of Kufa. All of a sudden they see a woman standing at the door of her house and she looks as if she is waiting for something. They tell her, they go up to her and they tell her, "O woman, we are the sons of Muslim ibn Aqil, the man who was killed in the city last month. Is there some shelter in the city for us?" She welcomes them in. She feeds them and she gives them a place to sleep at. The narrations say that they were so scared to the point that they slept hugging each other. Imagine 7-year-old boys hugging each other at sleep because of how scared they were. Later in the night, the husband comes home. She asks him, "Oh husband, why were you so late?" He tells her that the sons of Muslim have escaped the prison and that he has been looking for them. She asks him, "What are you looking for? Do you want to help them? Do you want to protect them?" He says, "No. I want to kill them. I want to behead them. So I become an ally of Ibn Ziyad, so I get the bounty from Ibn Ziyad." She tells him, "Oh husband, how can you do this? How can you kill the kids of the progeny of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih? Don't you have no shame?" And she continues to shame him. Now he senses something very unusual. Why is she being so adamant, telling him not to kill these children when he wasn't even able to find them? So he realizes that she knows where they are. So he begins looking through the house until he finds the sons of Muslim. As soon as he finds them, he asks them, "Who are you?" They tell him, "Promise us that you will never harm us and we will tell you who you are." And he immediately gives them
gives them his word. They tell him, we are the sons of Muslim. We were held captives by Ibn Ziyad. We were put in prison by Ibn Ziyad. And we just escaped. Can you help us go back to our family in Medina? Can you help us go back to our mother? Back to Sayyida Zainab? Back to the family? Back to Sayyida Zain al-Abidin? As soon as he hears that they are the sons of Muslim, he immediately tells his servant to go and behead them at the river. How cruel, beheading children. As soon as his servant knows who they are, he tells them, I am leaving you. I will never accept an order from you if it is an order that it goes against what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands. So he tells them, okay. He takes them by himself and takes them by the river in order to behead them. He wants to behead the older. The younger one begins to beg, please, please kill me before my younger brother. I can't handle seeing my younger brother being killed in front of me. The older one begs to be killed before his younger brother. I can't see my younger brother being killed. They begin to beg. And then prior to killing them, they ask him to do 2 rak'ah salah. They tell him, إن كنت تريد المال فانطلق إلى السوق وبعنا ولا تكن ممن يخاصمك محمد. If you want money, then just go sell us. There's no need to kill us. He tells them, no, I want to become Ibn Ziyad's ally. I want the influence from Ibn Ziyad. So he refuses. He gives them a few moments to pray, and he tells them, pray as if it will help you. Look at how cruel and stupid this man is, thinking that these 2 young boys are going to hell. And he, the beheader, is going to heaven. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. So as soon as they finish their prayer, he holds the older one, he puts him to the ground, and he beheads him immediately. Before the second one can do anything, before the second one can react, he immediately beheads the second one as well. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. رحم الله النادى ومسلما وحسينا ومظلوما. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. والعاقبة للمتقين. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم، يا الله 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 يا الله. اللهم إنا نسألك بحق مجلس الحسين عليه السلام أن تغفر ذنوبنا وأن تستر عيوبنا. اللهم اشف كل مريض، اللهم اشف كل مريض ومريضة. اللهم ارحمنا وتب علينا وانصرنا بحق محمد وآل محمد. Oh Allah, allow us to be one of those who shed a tear during the month of Muharam. Allow us to be one of those who participate in the majlis of Abi Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. Give us the tawfiq to be called the servants of Abi Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam on the day of judgment. Oh Allah, protect our families, protect us from every evil. Oh Allah, give blessings and peace to those who died from our communities. Oh Allah, protect our elderly. Oh Allah, protect our parents. Protect everyone. Protect the Shia world. Protect people in Bahrain, people in Syria, people who are suffering in Yemen, people in Iraq and Pakistan, all across the world. Brothers and sisters, let us stand in respect for the Imam of our time. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma kulli waliyika al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan. صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
صوت الشاعر أنا سمعه يا شهر الألم دمعة على دمعة، حروف القصيدة تقول شمعة يا جرح بجروحه كانت ريح. النوايب والمصايب كم قلب لما تجينا يكون ذايب بيك نسوان الوحي يصيرن غرايب، بيك يا شهر الشجن تبدي العجايب. يا شوغة رقية اليتموها طفلة بحبال اليسار من كتفوها وعلى الجثث بالغاضرية مرروها بلا يا راس بلا يا راس تشوف مرمي جسم ابوها. من شهقة سكينة بلي جناح، من شهقة سكينة بالجوانح شاحبة بعاشور من عدها الملامح تشوف ما بين الصوايح والنوايح حزن بهلالك يا شهر الضيم لايح. لو رملة بحزنها تصيح جاسم، يا جاسم لو رملة بحزنها تصيح جاسم. فكري زفة وحنة فكري زفة وحنة يا ابني وشمع راسم ما حسبت حساب تبرز للملاحم وراسك تحني من دم الصوارم.
يا حسين ويا مصابه ولا يجلى يا العين سيد شابه زينب توين ويتنادي وخويا ويا روحي الهادي يا حسين يا لذكرك بطرف لساني وحاشاياك اليوم الوعد تنساني وانا اعتقادي بدفترك عنواني ناجح صار بدفترك عنواني يا حسين رجل ماي يحلى يا له من تصور دموعتي ظل هما يا له حسين اذكر راضعك من يبس دلا يا له جمر العطش قلبتي وجني رايانه ماي العذب يا حسين ما نتهنى ويحرم على اطفالك ما تشرب منه كم طفل ظل يذجب عليه الونه كم طفل ظلت ضامية وعطشانه يا حسين عيني من تصد للشبان اذكر علي الأكبر وشمعة عدنان وكان أشوفه معفر على التربان والذاري جسمه مكفن بكربايا يا حسين لو عرس عيني تشوفه اذكر الجاسم وتنحب عالحوفه من دم وارد خضبه لجفوفه تزحق على اطفال خيل عدوايانه ولاجل العين ستشابه وزينب توين وتنادي وخويا ويا روح الهادي أويلاه يا سيدي أويلاه يا سيدي أويلاه يا سيدي أويلاه يا سيدي مسلم وحيد بغربته بالكوفة رفت رايته ريت الهواشم حضرته بالكوفة طوع نادته وين العشيرة وصحبته وين العشيرة وصحبته جيوش الخوارج حاطته لحسين هلا دمعته اويلاه يا سيدي 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 يا ويلي حزه ورقبته يا ويلي حزه ورقبته حسد حميده بوحشته والوالي طالت غيبته والوالي طالت غيبته مهضومة تنظر جيته مهضومة تنظر جيته بحبال جرة وجثته بحبال جثة وجرته اويلاه يا سيدي
کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا کربلا والوں کیسا محرم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم ٹپکتا ہوا آپاس کا پرچم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا کربلا یہ کیسا محرم جیسے جیسے میرے غازی کا علم جھکتا گیا جیسے جیسے میرے غازی کا علم جھکتا گیا پشت پہ حضرت شبیر کے بھی غم آیا ٹپکتا ہوا آپاس کا پرچم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا کربلا دیکھ لے اسلام بچانے کے لیے کربلا دیکھ لے اسلام بچانے کے لیے ساتھ کنبے کو لیے وارث آدم آیا ٹپکتا ہوا آپاس کا پرچم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم ظالموں اس کو تو دو بوند پلا دو پانی ظالموں اس کو تو دو بوند پلا دو پانی لبوں پہ میرے بے شیر کا ہی دم آیا ٹپکتا ہوا عباس کا پرچم آیا کربلا والوں پہ کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا سارے موسم تو گزر جاتے ہیں آ کر سارے موسم تو گزر جاتے ہیں آ کر بس ہمیشہ کے لیے موسم ماتم آیا ٹپکتا ہوا عباس کا پرچم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا چاند ریحان نظر آیا محرم کا ادھر چاند ریحان نظر آیا محرم کا ادھر خلد میں اشک میری آنکھ میں پہم آیا ٹپکتا ہوا عباس کا پرچم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا ظالموں اس کو تو دو بوند پلا دو پانی ظالموں اس کو تو دو بوند پلا دو پانی اب لبوں پر میرے بے شیر کا ہے دم آیا ٹپکتا ہوا عباس کا پرچم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا کربلا والوں پہ آیا جیسے جیسے میرے غازی کا علم جھکتا گیا جیسے جیسے میرے غازی کا علم جھکتا گیا پشت میں حضرت شبیر کی بھی کم آیا ٹپکتا ہوا عباس کا پرچم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا کربلا والوں پہ یہ کیسا محرم آیا
صلوات چاند محرم کا نظر آ گیا 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 بس گئی کرب و بلا بس گئی کرب و بلا ہائے قسم غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا فاطمہ زہرا کا برا گھر لٹا کٹ گئے شبیر کا سوکھا گلا فاطمہ زہرا کا برا گھر لٹا کٹ گیا شبیر کا سوکھا گلا ماہ محرم میں یہ کیا ہو گیا کٹ گیا شبیر کا سوکھا گلا مومن و ویران مدینہ ہوا ہو گئی آباد مگر کربلا مومن و ویران مدینہ ہوا
ہو گئی آباد مگر کربلا
روتے ہی مرکز میں رسول خدا روتے ہیں مرکز میں رسول خدا کٹ گیا شبیر کا سوکھا گلا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا فاطمہ زہرا کا برا گھر لٹا کٹ
گیا شبیر کا سوکھا گلا
ہائے وہ عاشور وہ کرب و بلا بھول نہ پائیں گے یہ لہذا ہائے وہ عاشور وہ کرب و بلا بھول نہ پائیں گے آل محمد پہ تھی کیسی جفا آل محمد پہ تھی کیسی جفا کٹ گیا شبیر کا سوکھا گلا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے ہو گیا فاطمہ زہرا کا برا گھر لٹا
کٹ گیا شبیر کا سوکھا گلا
ہو گئی پردیس میں بربادیاں بہن یہ کرتی رہی شہزادیاں ہو گئی پردیس میں بربادیاں
بہن یہ
کرتی رہی شہزادیاں شام تلک جائیں گے ہم بے ردا شام تلک جائیں گے ہم بے ردا کٹ گیا شبیر کا سوکھا گلا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا فاطمہ زہرا گھر لٹا کٹ گیا شبیر جب ہوئے عباس کے بازو قلم ہو گئی بے آسرا اہل حرم جب ہوئے عباس کے بازو قلم ہو گئی
بے آسرا اہل حرم
چینی گئی پاک سرون سے ردا چینی گئی پاک سرون سے ردا کٹ گئی شبیر کا سوکھا گلا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا ہائے غضب ہو گیا فاطمہ زہرا کا بھرا گھر لٹا
کٹ گیا شبیر کا سوکھا گلا یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا یا حسین یا ذوالجینا بل من المیدان خالی و ویلا ہائے و حسینا ذوالجینا بل من المیدان خالی و ویلا ہائے و حسین ہے و غریب ہے و شہید ہے و مظلوم ذوالجینا بل من المیدان خالی و ویلا ہائے و حسین ہے و غریب ہے و شہید ہے و نہ ہے و مظلوم شر ہوا لو خالی آیا شر ہوا لو خالی آیا چھوڑ کے زینب کا ماں جایا بانگ کٹے ہیں کنویں میں نہایا زینب نے دکھڑائے سنایا ذوالجینا بل من المائدہ خالی و ویلا ہائے و حسین ہے و غریب ہے و شہید ہے و مظلوم ذوالجینا بل من المائدان خالی و ویلا ہائے و حسینہ خون میں تر رہے وار کو دیکھا خون میں تر رہے وار کو دیکھا روئی تڑپ کر بالی سکینہ بولی کہاں ہے میرے بابا چھین لیا کیوں میرا سہارا ذوالجینا بل من المیدان خالی و ویلا ہائے و حسین ہے و غریب ہے و شہید ہے و مظلوم ہے و مظلوم میں تیرے صدقے میں تیرے واری میں تیرے صدقے میں تیرے واری تو میرے بابا کی ہے سواری تیرے بدن سے خون ہے جاری زخم لگے ہیں جسم پہ تاری ذوالجینا بل من المائدہ خالی و ویلا ہائے و حسین ہے و غریب ہے و شہید ہے و مظلوم بات نہ مانی تو نے میری بات نہ مانی تو نے میری روئی بہت خد منہ سے لپٹی بولی کہاں ہے میرے بابا چھین لیا کیوں میرا سہارا ذوالجینا بل من المائدان خالی و ویلا ہائے و حسین ہے و غریب ہے و شہید ہے و مظلوم ہے و مظلوم ہے و مظلوم ہے و حسین ہے و مظلوم ہے و مظلوم صلو اللہ محمد و آل محمد